The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-0. They're up 2 games on the AFC North right now, and they have given up a grand total of just 26 points on defense. They have a real chance to move to 4-0 this week as slight favorites in Indianapolis. When I saw this game was going to be in Indy again this year, it reminded me just how crazy the NFL is and just how much the dynamics can change in a relatively short amount of time. Last season, we saw rookie Anthony Richardson make some big plays early on before he has the season-ending injury. Lots of excitement around Richardson despite the small sample size. Then Minshew comes in, he plays decent, and Shane Steichen has the Colts 1 win away from the playoffs. Remember, they ended up losing to C.J. Stroud and the Texans in Week 18. Well, on the way to that 9-8, nearly missed the playoffs 2023 season, the Colts crushed the Steelers last December. They won 30-13, and the Steelers could not have looked any more inept, especially at quarterback. They had Mitchell Trubisky and Mason Rudolph throwing passes for them that night. The Steelers then somehow still make it to the playoffs last year. Ultimately, they lost to Buffalo in the wild card. Now here we are in 2024, Week 4. They go back to Indy, and the feeling is completely different. The books have Pittsburgh at -1.5 headed into this one, and while there is no such thing as a 100% lock when it comes to betting the NFL, this feels like it's about as close as it gets. I just don't see how this game is close. Anthony Richardson makes some insane plays, like truly exciting to watch, but he's not playing efficiently. He's turning the ball over every time you look up. He's making poor decisions. He's missing throws by yards. It's not, oh, he was a tick late with that one. It's, hey, there's A.D. Mitchell running free behind the defense, and there goes the ball clear over his head. Seriously, the Colts receivers are not small guys. Pittman, Mitchell, Alec Pierce, these guys are 6'3", 6'4 plus. They're long. They're good athletes that can jump. It's like if you would have them standing under the basket at the other end of the court, some of these footballs he's throwing to them would be hitting the shot clock, not the rim, not the backboard, just clanking against the shot clock where they have absolutely no chance at making a play on the ball. And now this week, you have the 3-0 Steelers coming to town who just do not give up points. This game feels like it's going to be completely dominated by the Steelers defense. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter, there has to be some kind of anytime tutty props on them. As ridiculous as that sounds for a defense to come into a game expected to score, I feel like the Steelers are going to get a non-offensive touchdown this week. Let's break this down a little bit. The Colts have a big-name running back in Jonathan Taylor. He's shown us why he's a great back. He is now highly compensated, and he came into this season projected to be a big factor in this Colts offense, which is very important to Anthony Richardson's continued development, as having a strong run game is going to help the offense overall and keep the defenses from cheating. But I don't see how Taylor gets going against the Steelers' run defense. I'm willing to give him some pluses. If he's on, a one-on-one situation on the outside or a wider gap play, but I don't see how he runs through the 1 or 2 hole with much success today. To me, this game could very well be one of those Jonathan Taylor 23 carry, 89 yards type of deals. So one way or another, Anthony Richardson is going to have to make some plays if the Colts are going to have any shot in this game. And I just don't see how that happens at this time. I'm not being a hater. I'm simply pointing out that facing this defense is incredibly hard to begin with. But when you're still trying to figure it out as a young quarterback, especially with minimal starting experience, even going back to college, this is damn near impossible, whether you are playing at home or not. I'll say this. If Anthony Richardson is able to keep this game close and he plays clean football, even if the Colts do not come out of this with a win, I think it would do a lot for his confidence, and it would be a major step forward for this Colts offense. I've said it before. Shane Steichen is one of the great offensive minds in the game. He's still early in his head coaching career, but this guy knows what he's doing. We'll see if he can guide Anthony Richardson to success. Bottom line is Richardson just needs to be more consistent and not turn the ball over. Brings me to my next point. We've heard a lot over the past week and a half about, Russell Wilson to the Dolphins. Why would the Steelers do that? Why would they trade Russell Wilson? They signed him to essentially the veterans minimum. They did not have to give up draft capital to get him. Mike Tomlin told us Wilson was going to be the starter headed into the season. Obviously, the calf injury changed things, forced Justin Fields to start, and to Fields' credit, he has the Steelers at 3-0. The reason I say this, the Steelers were a good team last year. They made the playoffs. But the Steelers were abysmal on offense. The quarterback play was awful. They made the playoffs in spite of the quarterback. So coming into this year, you sign a veteran in Russell Wilson and trade a late-round pick for Justin Fields. You instantly upgraded your quarterback room. Say what you want about either of those guys, the reality is Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are light years better than the trio of Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph. While I completely understand people not being high on Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, as far as the team goes, this is what they needed. And up to this point in 2024, Fields has been that guy for the Steelers. Now look, I fully believe what Mike Tomlin said before week 1, that Wilson was their guy, and that might still be the case. We'll see once Russ is fully healthy. The reality is that Justin Fields is playing really well right now. It's hard to argue. They're 3-0, and he's protecting the football. Until we see otherwise, he's their guy. And they are not going to trade Wilson. As I said, it would make no sense. He is of no consequence to their salary cap. The kicker, Chris Boswell, is a bigger cap hit for the Steelers than Russell Wilson. I know the Steelers' offense is not super explosive, but the thing they have been lacking for several years now, even going back to Roethlisberger's final couple seasons when his arm was shot, is playmaking ability at the quarterback position. Someone who can move, who can ad-lib, scramble around and make plays when they need them. And that is what Justin Fields is doing. And I think even Russell Wilson, if and when he is in there, he would also be able to do that for them. So the idea that they would trade Wilson to Miami, or any other team for that matter, should that team's quarterback go down with an injury, it kind of defeats the strategy as far as why they acquired these two guys to begin with. I mean, they have a former top 10 pick in his 4th year who is extremely talented and multidimensional, and another guy who, say what you want about the 2 years in Denver, he's probably going to the Hall of Fame. And you're paying those guys a combined, probably less than $10 million? So if you trade Wilson and Fields misses time due to injury, what's the plan then? You'd be right back in the same situation you've been desperately trying to get out of for the past 3 to 4 years. So unless someone makes them an offer they cannot refuse for Russell Wilson, which I just do not see happening, Steelers are going to ride it out with these two guys. Enjoy the game today. Hopefully this doesn't age poorly. Again, I like the Steelers big over the Colts. Could be a Najee Harris 25-plus carry day, and we'll see if that defense gets into the end zone. Thanks for listening.